Welcome in, guys. We're back here in Scotland. Not my favorite place to race, but what are you going to do? I just want to say this video is kind of about race score. That's the big topic now. You see a lot of negative comments. You see a lot of people saying, oh, it's, I'm racing against people out of category. We need to give it time. I think it's going to turn out really well. And part of it is the race selection or the course selection, what you're doing. The past couple events that I've done, the races, these community races, have been on the Seaside Sprint, which is pretty flat. As we see here, I've finished third, and then the next one I did, I was first. So, and these are some strong guys. You can see the watts per kilograms, by far stronger than me. But that's the thing, is if you are at the bottom end of a category, which I'm at the bottom end of, I guess you could call it the top group A category. I'm at the bottom end of that, power-wise. So choosing a course like the Seaside Sprint or something that's not as long of an effort, those are going to be kind of what you need to focus on. Like this course today, you're going to see I get demolished, but that's how it goes. You're not always going to win. Sometimes you're going to finish toward the back of the pack, and that's fine. It's, I guess, part of the progression of yourself. I knew this whole workout for me, or this whole ride, was a workout. I did some sweet spot before this, and then this race. So this is kind of just my way of adding in VO2 without actually doing a erg workout. So here, this coming up is a very important piece of the puzzle to drafting, especially on this world. You see, as we're coming into this little loop castle sprint thing, I drift to the back, and I'm going to use the speed from the draft to get up the steep part at speed. And yes, I do hit some orange numbers here, but once I get up right around this corner here, or right around this right turn, the big effort, I don't have to chase or anything. I'm done. Like, not done, but I'm still doing some work, but I don't have to react. There's no gap, there's no panic, because I'm at the front and I'm just kind of watching what they're doing. And these guys coming through me, I'm going to pick up their draft, and it's all happy days. So that's just one little way you can use the draft, especially on this course, to kind of slingshot you through the group. And you are in the position, like on the offensive. People are reacting to you. And if you're get to the front like that, you're good to go. And this is another very tricky little spot. There's several small things like this throughout Zwift. But you can see here, the guys in the front, there's front four guys, they're pushing some power. And if you are tired, because we just had that big hit, so you're a little tired, group's relaxed a little bit, because it's not a big bump. It's just a little 2-3%, but they all push the pace. So I'm like, okay, I got to go. I got to get with these guys just in case they start really hammering it and no one chases. Because then I'm going to be out the back and I'm not even going to, be in contention for anything. As you can see here, we do have a little gap. It does come back. But those are the things that you can't let go, because say if you let it go, that next, then you're basically riding by yourself to the finish or with a small group. So here we are, we're back together. But that's just something that's very small. But say in a small group like this, or even in a larger group, it gets strung out and you get 2 or 3 guys that aren't holding that pace, and that breaks, they're gone, and you're, the group's split in half, and you don't have a chance. All right, so now going into this, I know if you noticed in the chat here, they were saying there were some very strong riders. So, all right, I'm just going to kind of do my thing on this climb, and wherever the group settles out, I'm going to try to stick with whoever the riders are. So we hear I'm 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever it is. I'm like, all right, I'm going to stay. And I remember that past jersey, the PAS. I'm like, I'm going to stick with him. I don't want to let him get out of sight. So I'm just kind of trying to keep around this group of people here at the rear of the field. And I don't this whole Scotland thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know the outer loop, but this specific climb, I didn't really know it. So, you could see it on the route preview. It wasn't that long, but it had some pretty steep pitches. I pushed the pace over the top just a little bit to see if anyone was really struggling, but they got a little strung out. We all came back together, which is perfectly fine because I didn't have much, like, say, threshold left in me. This was a really challenging race. And sometimes that's what these races are going to be. Like, no matter your category, like being in the top group, I'm going to be against stronger riders a lot of the time. That's why course selection will go into kind of what you're doing, and you're going to have to be a little bit smarter with how you are racing. I'm going to use that same tactic about hanging back and then drafting through the group on this. And I do get a gap, and I'm like, they're only 14 seconds in front of me. If no one's really pushing, I'll see if I can catch. But right about here, like, alarm bells are going off. I'm like, yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen. So I just let off. It all comes back together. Because I'm definitely in the hurt locker. You might be able to tell on my face whenever we slow down here toward the end. I'm pretty whipped. But overall, the race score, I do think, especially in the lower categories, you're going to find, it may not be today, maybe next week or so, but you're going to settle out to where you're going to be in some competitive races that maybe with the old category system you weren't. But yeah, right now I totally understand some guys that are coming back from outside that are out of category or out of their group. I'm going to try to start calling them groupings, because we need to eliminate that A, B, C, D category style mentality. And I know during this race, this was pretty challenging because you got a little drag right there, a little bump up. And basically this just is the reverse of what we just came up. And this part right here, man, this was a challenge for me. Like, just that steady effort, especially with this guy up front. I really didn't want to get him to get away. So I wanted to kind of like close that. I was hoping someone else would, but no one else was. So I made that gap, or I closed that gap. Now I know I got to go up the climb again. I thought it ended on the climb, but of course it doesn't. So we go into Glasgow, and then there's a good part in that the city loop there that I'll show you and highlight. This is, in that piece of the puzzle, is very important across all Zwift racing. So I'm just doing whatever I can. I'm not even, at this point, I'm not truly worried about anyone around me. I see Adler with me, so it's like, all right, I'm just going to try to stay with him, but stay within what what I feel my ability is at this point. I mean, the guys up the front, they were hammering. I mean, a minute 42 up this climb. Whew. Yeah, it was 15 seconds quicker? Yeah, they were rolling. So I've got Adler and one other guy, Constable, with me. So I don't know. Obviously I want to beat them in the sprint, but we'll see what happens. Or I'll show you what happens, I should say. We'll see how it goes wrong. And it's a very common thing that happens. You're tired. I think at this point it's been almost an hour and 45 minutes I've been riding, so I'm super tired. And it just, one little lapse in your judgment is all it takes to get out of position. So here it is. All right, this is the big bump. Now, Adler pushes the pace. See, I mean, he does hit order numbers, and I'm kind of like, ooh, we're done. We're going to hang out. I let it off the pace. So, and Adler only does maybe 1-2 seconds worth of effort, and he's got this gap, and he's gone. So just that 1-2 seconds where I didn't push over the top, I didn't get up to speed before I rested, he pushed that little flat you know, it was 1 to 2 extra seconds. That was it. That's all he did to give him this advantage. And I couldn't get him. Now he's obviously working too. And all he has to do is match my watts per kilogram. Like if I'm doing 5, he does 5. If I'm doing 4, he does 4. And that's all he does. Obviously he sprints and he probably would have beat me anyway. But I'm just saying that getting to the top of a climb, and it doesn't matter the climb. It could be the hilly KOM. It could be whatever little bump anywhere in Zwift. Push over that top. You push over that top, it's going to set you up, because you could drop, like I got dropped. It could drop someone that quickly. So overall, this was a pretty good race. I did, what for me, a lot of effort. You can see by that little mini map, the color codes. I had a lot of anaerobic, a lot of VO2. I mean, it was almost dead even. I think it was like 6 minutes, 5 minutes, or 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and 5 and 4. I mean, it was almost dead set all the way across. It was kind of cool to see how evenly distributed each zone was. So I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little race tips within that, because there's small things like that really do make a difference, especially in these race scores. If you're racing against some tougher competition, those small little tips of what to look for in that race can really make a difference between, wasting some effort, bridging some gaps, or you're able to just to kind of hang in there and maybe go on the offensive, not to make an attack, but just go on that offensive to be in the position. So when they react, you don't have to do as much effort. You just kind of surf their wheels and hang in there. But I appreciate it, guys. I got another video coming up here. It's going to be a little bit longer of a video to make, but it's about what are the upcoming updates. So hopefully you'll see that here in a couple days. All right, guys, you have a good day. Thank you very much for watching.